All right, everybody, it's time to lock and load. This is John Jerva with another episode of the Action Fix Live. So I want everybody to know yesterday I did my first Action Fix Live. I didn't tell anybody that I was doing it. I basically just went on the line and um, I was able to do a review for a movie called Riot, and I didn't want to write it because I told you all you guys yesterday that I'm suffering from my rotator cuff surgery as well as a neurological disorder. So writing's been really tough for me lately. So this is the next way to go. So this is the next evolution, if you will, of ACTION-FLIX.com. Don't worry, I'm still going to be writing. I'm still going to be doing my thing, but it's going to be more video, more audio, in the future. So I had so much fun doing it by myself. I was all alone last night. I figured I'd have company tonight. So I'm doing another one. And this time on the Action Fix Live, we're going to be doing Only a Ninja Can Kill a Ninja. That's right. We're talking about ninja movies, television, anything to do with ninjas. And I got a special guest with me tonight. His name is Charlie Chase. He runs the action podcast, Give Me Back My Action Movies. So let's bring him in. Charlie, how you doing tonight?
Happening, John? How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing all right. Like I said, I called I texted Charlie this morning as kind of short notice and be like, hey, do you want to do this? And he was like, absolutely. So here we are, just two guys talking about ninja movies. So let's get it rolling here. So Charlie, basically what I want to do right now for the first couple of minutes is just get your thoughts on the ninja movies. So talk to the viewers here. And what was your first experience with watching a ninja movie? Tell us that.
The first, what I would call the first entrance I've had to like the ninja movies was just watching them on like the TNT channel we had, TBS, and they would just play these random movies every once in a while. Sometimes they're like back to back. I can't even remember half the names of them. I was looking today because Tubi has got like 50 ninja movies, and I'm sitting there going, I don't know any of these names. It's like Ninja the Terminator, Ninja the Domination, Ninja this. I was like, so I know I watched a ninja movie. So, but to tell you which one started it is hard. But what I can tell you, the ones I remember the most, obviously, with somebody like me that grew up watching like all the canon movies, was like American Ninja.
Yeah.
That's really where I know my first like memory of the ninja movies. Yes, it's a white ninja. I get it. Okay, it's fine. You know, we all love Michael Dudikoff though. It's all good. But yeah. And as I started watching those, then I got into like the Revenge of the Ninja. The Shokuzugi is probably my biggest influence in knowledge of it. So I tell a lot of people were on the podcast, I do mostly like run and gun type movies, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, but I have seen ninja movies and I need to really up my knowledge of them. So when I talk about things, it's like I've really only ever watched like the canons, some of the earlier stuff that, we may have seen. Again, I can't even think of the names of some of the early ones, man. There's so many.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Charlie, I think if you would ask it, like 90% of the other people out there, American Ninja was probably their foray into ninja movies as well. So you're in pretty good company. So basically for me, it was basically Revenge of the Ninja. I actually saw Revenge of the Ninja before Enter the Ninja, which came out before Revenge of the Ninja, and I just saw it late night on cable. And this was actually before my parents were letting me watch R-rated movies. Like my sisters and I would stay up and we'd watch movies and stuff like that. And I remember one time I was by myself actually, and I put on Revenge of the Ninja with Shokasuga. I was like, what the hell is going on right now? Like, who are these people? And I'm like, oh, I'm just a kid. So yeah, so that was my first foray into it. And then after that, it was just like a waterfall. It's like and then Ninja 3: The Domination came out, and then after that, the American Ninja movies were coming out. So yeah, I'm right there with you. So let's talk about Shokasugi first, because like when you talk ninja movies, everybody's the first picture that comes in your head, or at least my head, is Shokasugi, because he is the ninja. He is considered the leading Artur of not only ninja in the movies, but pretty much ninja in real life. So I want to go through some of these movies and just get your thought processes of them. So obviously, Enter the Ninja, not one of my favorites. Actually, Franco Nero's the lead in it, and and obviously probably should have been the lead in that one as well. But he was the choreographer, for the fights, but they made him the bad guy, so he was only in it a little bit. But Franco Nero in that white outfit with the mustache sticking out, it was just like, that's just one sight I'll never be that I will never get out of my head. So let me hear your thoughts on Enter the Ninja.
Again, it's been so long since I've actually sat down and watched these, but
no worries.
I'm with you as far as like Sho Kosugi is like, that's one of the few that when I see his face in a movie, I'm like, I know who that is.
Yes.
It's immediate. One of my favorite things about him, though, that we're talking about Enter the Ninja, was as the canon ones kept going, he kept appearing in the movies, but he was a different character in each of the three of the trilogy from canon. And I was watching Ninja 3, The Domination, and he's wearing an eye patch.
Yeah.
That was literally the guard of a katana over his eye. And, that guy just, he was the ninja. He was the one that made sure everyone was doing everything right in the movies. I guess the godfather of what we know as modern ninja cinema.
That's the perfect godfather of ninja. That I could have said it better myself. Now, like I said, that's fine. You haven't seen Enter Ninja in years. I haven't seen Enter the Ninja. I can't remember last time. I just remember watching it after Revenge of the Ninja, thinking like it was going to be as good as Revenge of the Ninja, and I was like, oh, this is not as good. And I can see like this was their first foray, Canon Films, into making a ninja movie. So they kind of said like, oh, this stuff didn't work in this one, so let's fix it and make this guy the star. You know what I'm saying? And
that was kind of the Canon way of doing it.
Yes.
That didn't quite work. We'll try it again later.
We're just doing this fly by the seat of our pants. So like, here, this didn't work. Let's do it another way. And I remember watching the movie, and I know, again, whatever you can remember is fine. But I just remember his fight with Franco Nero at the end was so flippin' short. Like it was over before it got started, and I was just like, wow. I was like, that's it. That's all you get, for a final climactic battle between ninjas. And then they come out with a Revenge of the Ninja, and they fix that problem. And I watched this one today actually to refresh my memory, and the ending is literally, shit you not, 25 minutes. The finale alone is him and Arthur Roberts as the bad ninja, Braden running around killing mobsters first before they have their freaking fight, and their fight's like 10 minutes long. And I'm like, now that's a ninja movie. So give me your thoughts on Revenge of the Ninja.
I think you nailed it right there. It was one of the longest in battles I think I've seen in a ninja movie, and I can't even think of one that battle just continued on, and it was just kind of like, we know we have the guy that is the ninja. Let's just let him go nuts, and let's just turn the cameras on and let him do whatever. That's how that end battle in that one probably ended up feeling more than obviously the first one. The first one, like you said, stupid short. This one, they went, I don't want to say stupid long, but they went really long on it.
Yeah, now, and the other thing too, which impressed me about Revenge, and again, this again, my first ninja movie that I ever saw. I think they used every single weapon a ninja uses too. They're like, you know what? Not only is this going to be like the longest battle ever, but I think we're going to have, and it just made me laugh because I was watching it today, and the bad ninja, I don't know if you remember the part where Sho Kosugi comes down with his sword and slices down, and it's a mannequin of him. I'm like, where did he pull that out from? It's like, it's the most
weapons magically appear. It would be in midair with nothing in his hand. Then he would cut someone in half. It's one of those things that when I watch it now as an adult, I can catch it all, but I can only imagine me being 12 years old going, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Because I'm the kid that's watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah. I'm the kid that's watching, Three Ninjas, and all. Ninja was part of our vocabulary in the late 80s, early 90s for a lot of kids. Yeah. Even if we've never seen the, Sho Kosugi movies, or any of the earlier ones, we knew what a ninja was.
Yes.
You know, and it was if you didn't have the weapons that they showed in the second one, you're not a ninja.
No.
As far as I'm concerned, you got to have every weapon out there. I want to see them all.
Now, yeah, and the other thing too, like if you think about it, you know, that kind of laid the foundation for American Ninja, because like in the first one you had Franco Nero, who wasn't an American per se, but he was playing one on TV, and then you had Arthur Roberts as the bad ninja. He was an American, so I think that's what led them to go in the American Ninja route. They're like, you know, we kind of messed around with it before. Let's do it this way, make it the plot of the movie, you know, and get this young kid who's an up and comer. Now I'm getting ahead of myself, but now, and also what I enjoyed about Revenge of the Ninja, actually, and I'm friends with him on Facebook, is Keith Vitelli, you know, who's a famous martial artist, and he's done a lot of things. And I like him in this movie because he, you know, of course, he's friends with Cho, also known as Sho Kosugi in the movie. And I was always bummed that, like, you know, he got killed at the end. You know, he tried to fight, you know, the you know, Braden, or the evil ninja, and then he just pretty much got cut down, you know, before it even got started. And I was always upset about that part too, you know, and I kind of wanted to do a little bit more karate in that, because I was starting, because I'd seen Chuck Norris, you know, and Lone Wolf McQuade, and I touched on this on Friday night. You know, this is where I started getting my love of action movies, so I wanted to see more karate. So I was kind of disappointed in that effect too.
Now that was my introduction to like the martial arts stuff, was like Chuck Norris and stuff.
Yeah.
So the ninja ones were just like Chuck Norris times 11 as far as choreography, and using the weapons and stuff like that. You know, so and again, I'm from a very rural area, so you could rent movies, and it was depending on what they got. And I will tell you, the martial arts section was never that big. You know, so you would go through them pretty fast, especially if it was a Karate Kid, or you know, your kickboxers or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I probably rented anything that had ninja in the name of it, but that was like 5 movies.
Yeah.
That's just how that worked where I lived.
Yeah. Well, I think I grew up in Northeast Ohio, and that was pretty urban, you know, because I was by Cleveland, and we had Blockbusters and everything, and my cousin owned a video store chain. He owned, I think at the most he had 3 of them, and my mom actually managed them for a time too, and I worked for him. My sisters did too, and that's how I got into all this, because I would just be, you know, movies, you know, and then like I would see it all, because like I remember he'd get these magazines, and you know, for what he could buy, you know, to put in his store, and it was just like, and of course you know all the big budget ones that you're going to get, but then there's all these other movies I'm looking through, and I asked his name is Robert. I go, hey Robert, can I take these magazines home and look? He's like, sure. So I come back like the next day when I come back to work, I'm like, is there any way you could get this one and this one? He's like, well, John, you know, it's a money thing. He's like, I gotta know that if it's gonna rent or not. And at that time I was working for him, right? And I go, listen, I'm gonna strike a deal with you. You get these movies, right? If they don't sell, I will buy them from you. He was like, fair deal. So that's how we got started with all this. No, they were not. No. Yeah, well, that was the good thing, because suggested retail prices on VHS tapes were like $100. He would get the dealer cost, which shaved like $40 off of it, and that's what then he would get them, and he was my cousin, obviously, you know, so he would shave off point, like if they rented, he would take that into consideration too, and give me a number at the end. And so I ate them all up. You know, not just yeah, that's how I got. Yeah, I can't tell you what a great time that was. So
I wish I'd have had family members in real. I feel like I lived in a rental store.
Yeah,
but you know, I didn't have ends like you did to get that. I remember like when later in the 90s, when Columbia House, you could like buy VHSs. Yeah. And you were going through and going, seen it. What's that? Where did I see? Where can I get that?
Right.
And that's where I remember like seeing all these like lists of movies coming from.
That was the one they had the little stickers, right? And you'd put them in the little squares, and then you mail them in. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So yeah. That's how I know I'm going to be 50 this year, is when I start talking about VHS tapes and stuff like that. Well, let's get back on subject now. So we're talking about Revenge of the Ninja. Now let's go into Ninja 3: The Domination. Now this one, it's okay. All right. Now I'm just going to first preface this by saying I love them all, but this is probably the dark horse of the ninja movies, if you will.
It is.
Yes.
This one, I feel like I can talk a little bit more about.
Yeah.
I literally just watched it today.
Let's do it. Let's dive in.
I have the Canon DVD collection.
Yeah.
And it's like, Chuck Norris, Ninja Domination 3, Death Wish 2. All these like random movies thrown into it. And I'm like, you asked me and I'm like, screw it. I'm putting in Ninja 3. I'm watching it today. And I gotta tell you, as not knowing as much as I do about this, I enjoyed the hell out of that movie.
Yeah.
I really did. I thought it was a blast.
Mm-hmm.
It's goofy. It's over the top.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
From an arcade machine. But God, I love this movie.
Okay, let me just start by saying, now I told you before we went live that I had started watching this movie and I got about 20 minutes into it. And pretty much the first 20 minutes is the most ridiculous part of the movie, because I think the Los Angeles Police Department loses 90% of their police force. It's the best scene ever. He kills everybody. Now it's Dal Ishimoto. He was in Mission Action too. He played the jerk guy that was the colonel's right hand man, and here he's a bad guy again. But this guy and he's getting shot left and right, and it's not like he's deflecting him. He's getting torn apart. But
he is absorbing every bullet, and it's also like the longest fight sequence I've seen in a movie, because it starts out with him assassinating someone, and then he's being chased down on a desert road by a cop.
Yep.
2 motorcycle cops. Then he jumps on a helicopter from a palm tree. Then disables the and I love how they crash the helicopter. Classic Cannon.
Yeah.
It goes off behind the hill and they set off an explosion. I was already smiling at that point. And it kept going. Then the cops shot him. He played dead. Then they attacked him again. And then he throws a smoke bomb and he buries himself in the dirt and no one realizes it. It's the most insane plot premise I've ever seen.
And what's even more ridiculous, I'm going to use that word a lot for this one, but it's like when you get to the group of cops, that he later, has his hit list of all the cops that survived, and there's only like 6 of them. Or 5 of them that he kills everybody else, but they surround him and they're just shooting him with M16s and shotguns, and he flips over and and then all of a sudden he throws a smoke bomb and they're just like, where did this guy go? And then they all leave, and then there he is coming out of the dirt like Bugs Bunny, and he's like. And then, but yet he's still moving, and he finds Lucinda Dickey, who's just, a telephone repair girl or whoever the hell she is, and the rest is history.
God, it is. And I know this movie gets a lot of heat.
Oh, it does.
It's pretty much Flashdance meets Revenge of the Ninja meets Breakin' 2.
Breakin' 2. Yes, Lucinda Dickey. Yes, Breakin' 2.
It gets really crazy, but I always love that they paint her face up with the eyeliner to let you know she's like possessed.
Yes.
Because they had his eyes painted up with the eyeliner at the beginning. I'm like, okay, that's just so I know when it's him. Thanks for letting me know.
Well, let me go real quick before we go on. It's funny that you said about the eyeliner, because that's what happened to show in the Revenge of the Ninja. When he put his uniform on and he did this, and all the wind was blowing, he magically got his eyeliner on his eye too. It just appears out of nowhere. Oh my God. Anyway, so yes. So, you said it right when you're like Flashdance Breakin' meets Revenge of the Ninja.
We ended up in an aerobics instruction, and I'm watching her kick all these tough guys' ass while everyone is standing around not doing anything.
Yes.
I was like, there's like 5 guys back there not doing anything while these women are being accosted. And you're just like, really? Come on.
Yeah, and then it's like, is there that many assholes at a jazzercise class?
And she's like, come on, guys, get out of here. It's like, this isn't the first time. They're regulars to the alleyway, I guess.
All right, so she gets possessed. He gives her the sword, and when he does, he looks into her eyes, and then the whole, mystic voodoo happens. And then we got Jordan Bennett, and I only remember his name because I just saw it 50 minutes ago when I was watching the movie. That's his name. Secord. Yeah, his name is. Thank you, Secord. Yeah. That's the name. That's the name you have when you're an '80s cop. Is Secord? Absolutely. You got to have the name Secord. But then she's an what I want to say. She's a person of interest. And he sees that she has the sword, and she's like, I like Japanese culture or whatever. And he's like totally hitting on her, and then we have the whole V8 scene where she's like seductively. Now, don't get me wrong. When you're a 10-year-old kid, you're just like, what the hell is going on? You can talk. I'm laughing too hard right now.
Nudity in this movie per se.
No.
But it's just really weird. Like, I have no idea what they were thinking. It's like, oh, that works. Sure, let's go with that.
Well, yeah, Canon, Menachem Golan, and Yoram Globus, they had to cater to the teenagers. They knew what they were doing.
They did.
And then
they loved Lucinda Dickey.
Yes.
So, it was anything that highlighted her, they were for.
Yes.
Whatever. She was supposed to be like their Jamie Lee Curtis or whatever.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be huge.
Exactly. Yes. Good point. I'm glad that you brought that up. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing they were trying to do. They were trying to make all these people that the stars of Warner Brothers had their star, Paramount had their star. That's exactly what they were trying to do. Then they had, and of course, they get Sylvester Stallone. I'm going off topic again, but
let's just talk about it. It's fine.
But of course, they get Sylvester Stallone for a couple movies, and I love how he admits that over the top. I forget what his quote was about making over the top. Do you remember what it was? Something about he got paid really well, and that was pretty much all he could say.
I think that was it. I got paid really well.
Yes.
And that was the end of the quote for the movie. And it's one of my wife's favorite. We'll probably cover it one of these days. I always just remember flip the switch. That's what everyone remembers. Turn the hat around and you flip the switch.
But here's the funny part, and this is the last I'll say, and we'll get back on topic here, is Over the Top is bad it's a bad movie. It's about arm wrestling for God's sakes. How do you make arm wrestling exciting? Which I think they pulled it off, especially at the end, when he has this big fight, or arm wrestling match, I should say. It's not a fight. But I just love how his quote was saying that, because it goes. My wife loves this movie, and I'm like, that's so cool, because I love this movie, and I'm like, I don't know why I should hate this movie, but I have it and I watch it on occasion. So
that's the beauty of canon, man.
Yeah.
Why do we love this movie? I don't know. I just do.
Yes.
That's how all this works. Why was I smiling so big watching Ninja 3 The Domination today? I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I was just really enjoying the movie.
Yeah.
That's all there was to it. And it just keeps, when they try to exercise her, and they've got her tied up, chained up. I think it's James Hong appears in this.
Yep.
The Big Trouble in Little China, James Hong.
Mm-hmm.
She's breaking the ropes. They're trying to tie her back down. He gets all scared of the demon trying to come out. And I'm just like, it turns into a horror movie for 10 minutes.
Yep.
It was great.
Well, that's the thing, too. Every time she would go into her ninja trance, it kind of turned into, I love this scene where, she just had intercourse with Secord, and she gets out of bed and the sword's calling to her, and it comes out of the closet, and it's being hugged by a little stream, and it's coming up to her, and then it's the best thing ever. But now let's talk about Sho Kosugi. Now, of course, Sho has another bit part in this one, because he's a co-star, because he's the guy that shows up to save the day. And of course, we get the little backstory with him in Japan, and of course, going back to Revenge of the Ninja, I think that was like a horrendous beginning, by the way. They're killing his kids, they're killing his wife, they're killing his grandmothers. I mean, that was like just the
Yeah.
worst scene ever. And here in Ninja 3, same thing. They have that flashback. More bad shit happens to this guy, and he's a totally different guy. So it's like every ninja movie that he's in, it's like the most depressing thing ever.
It's like Mel Brooks did his backstory.
Yeah.
You know, that whole thing from Men in Tights where it's like, leave us alone, Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
They keep burning our villages. Shukazuki's like, you have to kill my family in every single movie. He's like, fine, you can kill him, but I want a badass eye patch in this movie.
Absolutely.
Like, fine, give him an eye patch. I'm like, it's Shukazuki. Did you really need him to stand out that much? He's like literally one of the only Asian people in the movie once the Black Ninja dies at the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you didn't need him to stand out that much. But, and to talk about, like, we were talking about the weapons in the second one, this one has an extreme amount of different weapons. But man, he loves his shurikens, his throwing stars.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Black Ninja's like weapon of choice in this movie. The helicopter pilot's still flying the helicopter with a shuriken in his throat.
Yeah,
it was great.
Now again, so like, excuse me. Now, of course, he comes in because he's the only one. Because only a ninja can kill a ninja. That's where that comes.
I thought he was pretty dead though after all the cops shot him up though earlier in the movie.
Well, he was dead.
Well, that killed that whole thought process.
But that's the thing. I think they were kind of going for it because there's always been this mystical sense to ninjas, because of course it was over 400 or 500 years ago that these guys existed, and there was always these stories of the stuff they could do. So I think that's where Golan and Globus were trying to go with this one. They were trying to, the other ones were more grounded in reality, if you will. So they were just trying to go on to, hey, now we're getting into some of the far out crap, that we read in books and stuff like that. So I think that's how this was.
Got in that thing where they wanted a little mysticism. All it was how do we up the ante? We've already had a ninja running around killing everyone. How do we add a really hot girl? B, we need a different hook. Let's add magic and mysticism to an already somewhat mysterious topic.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that much of a stretch.
Now, of course, the big battle at the end, and he fights the monks that get taken over. He possesses the monks, and he has the big fight with them, and of course he has the big fight with the evil ninja at the end. And again, not as long as Revenge of the Ninja, but it was better than Enter the Ninja. If you're going to compare the two, so.
Well, I think they realized that was really, really long. But again, we had the really, really long battle at the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So speeding it up a little bit at the end, plus they're trying to stay within that time frame of the movie. And all that work Shukazuki does for her to just run up and stab the guy, and that's what kills him, and he burrows his way into the ground again. Straight up Bugs Bunny moment.
Well,
he spins around and goes into the ground.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, I wanted to be like, is he dead? I mean, I did.
Is she a ninja? Is she okay? Is she back to normal?
Well, yeah, she was smiling at the end, and he comes up and hugs her, and then I guess she's, that was the main thing, was to pull him out of her, which they did, and then he does this little spinning into the ground thing, and I'm like, well, I think that was supposed to be symbolic of him going to hell, maybe. They never said.
That's what it was. It probably would have been a little bit more impactful had I not watched him bury himself at the beginning of the movie. Because now I'm immediately going, is this a ruse? No, I think it is a lot of symbolism towards the end. Like every time he was possessing her was a symbol of how much further she was getting taken over. Mm-hmm. Like the first time she was just barely took over. She had the little gray streak in her hair. The second time after the arcade machine, like did the whole maximum overdrive thing to her face. Mm. She gets more taken over. And then like the final like possession scene is kind of like where he's fully ingrained into her body, and she's now the dark ninja, the black ninja, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
I think we talk more about Ninja 3: The Domination than any ninja movie so far. You can tell which one I watched today, John.
That's fine. I mean, there's a lot to say about this movie. What can I tell you? And I was actually bummed that his sons weren't in it. Like, he always had his sons, Kane and Shane Kasugi, in his movies, and Kane was the oldest one. I always felt like, because I was watching Revenge of the Ninja today, and Kane Kasugi had his big fight with that big sumo looking guy when he's trying to save the blonde girl that was totally useless in the movie. But, and I think that's where the other filmmakers got the idea for three ninjas. The one with the kids. I think that's where that came about, because they saw Kane Kasugi run around, his little 7-year-old ass running around kicking the shit out of big guys. So they're like, hey, we should make this for America. And I think that's where Three Ninjas came across.
I came really close to watching Three Ninjas at high noon just so I could watch Hulk Hogan.
Oh, I was gonna say that's the one.
At the amusement park with the Three Ninjas today, because I typed in ninja and I was like, oh, all these ninja movies, and then Three Ninjas at high noon. I was like, I could watch Hulk Hogan run around for about an hour and a half. I didn't though. That's a whole nother subgenre of ninja we can talk about later.
I was gonna say, if you watch that one, I did not. I think I watched that once like 30 years ago, and I didn't.
Yeah, that was it.
Hulk Hogan, say no more. All right. So now let's go into, like, again, I'll just kind of throw some movies out there, and again, if you, how far you've seen them and stuff. Now I've always hang on a second. I've always been a fan of Pray for Death. Have you seen Pray for Death?
I have not seen Pray for Death.
You have not seen Pray for Death? No. Oh, okay. Well, here's what we got to do. We got to rectify that situation, and then we got to come back and have a live stream about just talking about Pray for Death, because
I'm writing it down right now.
Right.
Gonna have a list of movies.
Write that shit down.
Pray, P-R-A or P-R-E?
P-R-A-Y. Pray, yeah. Pray for Death. With
Sho
Kosugi. Sho Kosugi's in it. And it's hang on. It's similar to Revenge of the Ninja, where he comes to America with his wife and 2 boys, again played by Shane and Kane Kasugi. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but bad things happen, Charlie, and you know what has to happen. And not only does he have to, because again, just like in Revenge of the Ninja, where he puts his ninja pass, he tapes up his sword and everything, that he has to break at the end, when he gets out his ninja stuff. But it's kind of the same thing, because mobsters kind of like harass him and his family because they're trying to start a business like he was trying to do in Revenge of the Ninja. And I'll just say that Pray for Death has the best looking ninja outfit ever, because it's kind of, I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures for it, but it's kind of like a knight helmet he has on, and like the sides come across and form the or not the breastplate, but the faceplate, and it's the coolest thing ever. His outfit.
I just pulled it up real quick because I wanted to see it. It's very pre-Power Rangers, but it doesn't have the visor.
Yes.
It's very. Oh, you're right. It's very armorish.
Yes.
No, that's on my watch list right now. I will have to check that one out.
Well, good. I will talk to you when you watch that one. We'll throw it in there somewhere and talk about it. Absolutely. Now here we go. We're gonna get into Canon Films, the American, and I got a lot to say about the American Ninja movies.
Let's go.
American
Ninja I've watched not too long ago, so I feel like I can probably work my way through this. But again, it's Michael Dudikoff. I did just watch American Ninja 2 today.
Did you?
So we'll get into that one. I'll know that one a little bit more than the first one.
That's fine.
The first one, I'll let you start, then we'll get into it.
So American Ninja, and I think 1985 was pretty much a heyday. That was like the biggest year for Canon, because they had Missing Action 2 came out, which was actually supposed to be before Missing in Action in 84, but they released that later as a prequel. They had Invasion USA with Chuck Norris that we talked about on Friday. And then they had American Ninja with Michael Dudikoff. So this was a pretty big year for them if you talk action movie-wise. And I'll remember to this day, hang on a second, I'm choking.
No, go ahead.
It's all good until you go live, right, Charlie?
Okay. Every time, man. It's all good, though.
So I remember this because it was playing in the movie theaters, okay? And up to now, I told you how my dad was taking me to see them after Invasion USA. So I wanted to go see American Ninja. I was like, oh my God. I didn't even know who Michael Dudikoff was, of course, because I'd never seen him before. And, and, I remember the weekend it came out, we were going to Johnstown, Pennsylvania. That's where my grandmother lived, my dad's mother. And he's like, I'll take you to see it, but it has to be the following week because we're going to see your grandma. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then when we came back, it only played 1 week in the freaking movie theater. And I was like, son of a bitch. And I'm like, he's like, oh, it's not playing anymore. I'm like, no. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, I'll see it. And it came out on video like 2 weeks later. I think my cousin's like, hey, isn't this the movie you wanted to see? I'm like, oh my God, that's it. That's the one right there. So yeah. So needless to say, he got American Ninja, and I was like, and he got him early before the release date. He's like, do you want to take it home and watch it? And I was like, I was like this rabid like dog, I was like, I need to watch this. And I remember watching it, and I shit you not, Charlie, I watched it every single day that weekend. And I think I watched it more than once on some occasions. Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember that far back. But this, and now, of course, I was introduced to the Sho Kosugi movies, and nothing against Michael Dudikoff, but he didn't know martial arts when he got the role. They had to teach him how to do stuff, so you can tell in the movie he's not Sho Kosugi. And I'm not bashing Michael Dudikoff by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just being realistic that in the action scenes, he's not doing what Sho Kosugi did in his movies.
Right,
but
that's 100% accurate. That's fair.
Right.
That's fair.
But I didn't give a shit because it's American Ninja, and he's still dressed up like a ninja at the end. Then you had Steve James with the M60 machine gun on the back of the Jeep busting through, and and it had guns and rocket launchers, and freaking Tadashi Yamashita had a laser on his wrist, and I'm like, it was the best thing ever. And I think I watched it like 15 times that weekend, and I think I wore it out when I brought it back to my cousin, and I was like, I don't know if it's gonna play anymore because I think I beat the crap out of this on my VCR. But it did, and of course I got it after because he got a couple copies of it, and he's like, would you like one? I'm like, so of course I got it when he was done with it. But yeah, that was my experience with it. And like I said, you know Michael Dudikoff, and I know why they hired him. He looked like a young James Dean. I actually talked to Sam Furstenberg 2 times when he had his book coming out, the Stories from the Trenches. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And and it was great talking to him about it. I'll pull up some of the quotes some other time, but just to hear Cannon's thought process, and because Ninja 3: The Domination didn't perform how they wanted it to. It wasn't as successful as the other two, so that's when they decided to go into the American Ninja. And I think they got the idea from what they had done in the earlier movies, and it was box office. I mean, obviously, it was a box office gold in Northeast Ohio because it only played for a week, but it must have did something because we're talking about it to this day. So go.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my thing, I think the American Ninja probably jumped out more to me because it was basically Delta Force meets ninjas.
Yes.
It had all of the military stuff you wanted. I mean, he was in the Army. He was, a Ranger. He was all this stuff. You had Steve James, who was Delta Force. And when I started watching these movies, it was already like, early 90s. So it didn't matter what movie came out, whether Delta Force had come out earlier, Delta Force 2 came out later. I didn't care. I was just renting everything that was Cannon or Chuck Norris related. And then I saw this dude on here that says he's the American Ninja. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm American and I want to be a ninja. So I'm going to watch this guy.
They're speaking to me.
He is white bread. You can tell that's what he is. And yeah, I agree. When I watched it, it's probably been about a month or 2 ago, I'm watching it now with my eyes going, wow, he really didn't know what he was doing. Like, Steve James was a better martial artist than Michael Dudikoff.
Steve James was a martial artist. That's why there was talk about on set that Michael Dudikoff was kind of hesitant towards Steve James because Steve James had skills where he was learning them. Now, granted, he got better as he went along, but with that, they eventually became good friends. But he was kind of hesitant towards Steve James because of that very factor. So sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, and that's exactly how it was. But I remember that I was just drawn to Dudikoff for some reason. So it's like I know why they cast him. And the movie was always enjoyable. I mean, it was just over the top action, bodies flying everywhere, explosions here and there. When I was that age, I didn't care about their acting. I didn't care really about story. Okay, guy was raised by someone who taught him martial arts, and now he's like this quiet, composed ninja, and he's never really had to do it until these ninjas appeared. Yeah. Okay, I'm sold. Yeah. I'm there. And pretty much that's American Ninja. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if there really is a whole plot other than saving the one girl from being kidnapped or something, I think, when the caravan gets attacked.
Yes.
That's pretty much it. There's American Ninja.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, and I love the whole amnesia aspect to it. You know, he didn't remember who he was or where he came from, but he, you know, as soon as it clicks in, he knows he has ninja skills. You know, it's like it's like, of course he has to know. It's like that's the movie, damn it. And of course you had Tadami Yamashita, you know, who again, another viable martial arts star or Asian martial arts star. Who, if you ask most people who's Tadashi Yamashita, they're not going to know who he is, but that's besides the point. That's just that's just mainstream America. But yeah, he's fighting him at the end, and you can tell that the fight was, again, not a long fight. Like, you know, because most of the time, like when the armies run around shooting all the other ninjas, they're kind of running around with each other, throwing weapons at each other, and then finally in the little what do I want to call it? The little pond or whatever that they're in.
Like the fountain.
Yes, yeah.
And that's where everything in Canada had to end in a compound.
Yeah.
Like this mansion-looking thing.
And that's where he had his final sword fight with them, and it was short. And I pretty much could guess that it was short because they wanted to make it as good as they could with the star that they had, which said a lot about Michael Dudikoff, because even though he didn't have the skills when the movie started, they believed so much in him, and of course they did. He became a big action star, that they still put him in this movie. Now, so give me your thoughts on his fight with Tadashi Yamashita at the end. What did you think? The same thing?
Well, I think what you said was it was ridiculously fast.
Yes,
but I think what it worked was he was so good. You know, that's what they're trying to portray in the movie. He is far more skilled than even he realized, and they played that up a little bit. So the amnesia thing kind of works a little bit.
Okay,
he doesn't quite know what he's doing, but he's doing it. Just like Michael Dudikoff, he doesn't quite know what he's doing. Yeah. But the end fight, and I'm always just blown away by the type of end fights with Cannon. Again, like I was talking about, it's always at that compound. There's like 20 other fights happening at the same time. People shooting each other with the ridiculous, like, Roman candle-looking rockets flying at each other. People falling off of roofs. Yeah. And then this climactic, 30-second sword fight? Yeah. If. Yeah. And then that's it. The end of the movie.
There you go.
You know, that was that. You know, he won. The American Ninja, succeeded.
Well, also the one thing I liked, you know, because I complain about this to this day, is like when you have a star in a movie, you know, and you have to cover his face, you only do it for so long, but then they feel the audience needs to see the actor's face because that's who they're paying, which makes sense. But here, he wore his ninja outfit through the whole end. You know, of course, he didn't wear it through the whole movie, but at the end, he wore it through the whole ending. You know, so that's the one part I liked about it.
Well, he did, but you knew it was him.
Yes.
So it wasn't like they were even trying to fake it by putting someone else in the outfit. It was still, you were still like, it's still Michael Dudikoff out there running around doing all that stuff. And I can appreciate that. Yeah. I really can. But and again, I think it was they just played to his strengths. And that sometimes dictates how far the movie's going to go as far as choreography and, you know, and story plot. Yeah.
Now, I'd probably give American, like if we were doing the scoring system that we used on Friday, it'd probably be like, off the top of my head, probably be like an 8 or an 8.5. If I
would say I'm probably like 7.5, 8. That's probably where I would be. And it's really because what we're getting ready to talk about next is American Ninja 2. That I think is better than American Ninja.
This is just spoiler alert, this is my favorite American Ninja movie that we're going to talk about right now. So
it's like Michael Dudikoff was comfortable in his own skin finally.
Yeah.
In this one, I believed him as the American Ninja. Even the beginning fight around the boulders, although I'm sitting there going, that's got to be like the worst place to fight someone.
Yeah.
And poor Steve James is running around in just boxers
and
a pair of sandals.
Yeah. Well, he had the muscles. He had to do that, They had to show off his physique.
Oh, he was cut.
Yes, he was.
Steve James, I think, was way more fit than anyone in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked that one so much more because it was more believable as far as the characters. Plus, I liked the story a bit more.
Yeah.
While it wasn't completely believable.
No.
That, they're on this one Caribbean island and they're trying to. It was just an excuse to film a movie on an island
with ninjas,
women running around in bikinis.
Yeah.
We get it, Canon. We know why this movie was made, but it is my favorite of the American Ninja movies by far.
And I'll tell you this, in so many ways, and I got to see the second one in the movie theater, which I was really excited about, because I told you I missed the opportunity to see the first one, so I got to see the second one in the movie theater. And even the music, I thought the music was better, as it terms to the original score. And I'm not dissing the original score, but it was just like a faster paced, more. I like the more of the synthesizer kind of 80s thing going for it.
Yeah.
And I like how it started right away with the camera zooming through the road. It seemed like a faster paced, more movie than the first one did.
Well, I think it's just the evolution we've seen as canon went along.
Yep.
They learned from things, and then they learned that, you didn't have to speed up the film. You could just speed up certain aspects. It was like watching Ninja 3 The Domination. You could watch how they sped up the ninja when he was running from the cops, and you could tell it was the film that was moving fast, not him.
Yeah.
But this one they figured out how to make it more of the pacing. You could feel the speed more. It was more believable. There's still the cannon cheese in it. Don't get me wrong. This isn't a masterpiece of their work by far, but it's up there. It's probably equal to Invasion USA as far as enjoyability for me. I enjoy American Ninja 2 a lot. I really do.
Well, then there's just, it seemed like there was, not that there wasn't ninja action in American Ninja, it just seemed like there was more ninja action in American Ninja 2. And the ending, and I was Mike Stone, who played Tojo Ken, who was the main ninja bad guy, that was working for the Lion. I love that too, the Lion. He called me the Lion. It's just like how full of yourself do you have to be like to have somebody call you the Lion? It's like, come on.
Dudikoff makes a comment in the movie about that. He's like, the Lion, huh?
Yeah. Totally ridiculous. But yeah, and then his fight with him at the end was much better. And again, he kept his mask on the whole time. Mike Stone, I thought, was kind of funny because he didn't have a mask on. He never wore the mask. But I like that. I dug it. It was okay. And again, the only thing I hate, and you're gonna call, I don't know what you'll think, but I was just kind of bummed that Steve James had a smaller gun in the final fight. It's fun. He had that portable rocket launcher. Yeah, the portable shotgun, that with the circle thing going for it.
Yeah.
I was like,
it was never as big as what you would think of, especially when you play G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
You're like, that's got to be a badass gun until Steve James grabs a hold of it.
Yes.
And it looks like a toy gun that shoots darts.
Yes.
That's what it looked like they handed him. But it's also Steve James, so I'm not upset with, the weapon. And then they pretty much gave Steve James the entire third movie. We don't even get Dudikoff back in American Ninja 3.
No.
They reference him, but it's basically the Steve James movie. And I love that. It's not a great movie, but I love that it's the Steve James movie.
Well, funny that you said that, because as we segue into American Ninja 3 Blood Hunt. Now, I remember seeing again at the video store, and I saw it, and I saw American Ninja 3 Blood Hunt, and I saw Steve James. I'm like, well, who's that fucking guy? I'm like, that's not that. Yeah, I was like, that's not Michael. And Not my fault, but I didn't know who David Bradley was at the time. I had no
No.
idea who this guy was, and then of course I took it home and watched it, and I was like, he's a trained martial artist, and I dug that. I was like, okay, it sucks that for whatever reason Michael Dudikoff didn't want to return and do this one, or he was busy or whatever. And yes, Steve James kind of just took the whole thing. And what he referenced Joe, I love how they reference him. He's like ninjas. I can't believe I'm dealing with ninjas. I thought I left this when I left Joe back in the army, and that's the only thing. That was the only thing they said. It's like, yep, okay, it's still connected to the same universe.
It's all the same universe. They didn't recast Joe. It's all in the same universe. But I'm not going to be upset that Steve James kind of overshadows the other guy that's in the third one. I'm a fan of Steve James.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The other guy, I agree with you. When I first saw him on the cover, he's like Dollar General Fabio. He's got the longer hair going. He's got like that chiseled face and jaw.
Yeah.
And you're looking at the cover going, that's not Michael Dudikoff.
Nope.
But there's Steve James. I'm going to watch it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what the movie is. It's not Michael Dudikoff, but I got Steve James anyway.
And then also the thing that pissed me off about American Ninja 3 is he never, except for like 2 minutes where he disguised himself, he never wore the freaking ninja uniform. I'm like, why aren't you wearing the goddamn ninja uniform in the final fight? I'm like, and there was no sword fighting. There was no like weapons. It was just martial arts, which was fine because I was getting into my martial arts phase and everything. But that kind of made me mad too. Now, again, I'm making it sound like I didn't like the movie. I liked the movie, but compared to the second one, I'm just like, what's this bullshit?
I think they moved over off of like these guys are trying to think because it was like based in a tournament, wasn't it? Like a karate tournament. That the whole movie started at?
It was the same thing as American Ninja 2. And again, Marjo Gortner was the head bad guy. Horrible choice. This guy was a total. I was like, yeah, I'm not believing this. But yeah, he was trying to find strong candidates to do his testing on, for this virus or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So it was kind of similar to that. And I just love the ending where the guys were like, mostly naked in little Speedos, and that's who he fights at the end. I'm like, who the hell are these guys? Where are the of course he fought ninjas throughout the movie, but the ending was just like, of course Steve James gets his fight, and everything, and and that was cool. But I'm just like, I even though David Bradley had skills, and you could tell he did the jump kicks and everything solid, and he was smooth with his moves and everything, which was good, but I was just like, I'm like, I need Michael Dudikoff.
It almost could have been any other movie except an American Ninja movie.
Yeah,
it could have put any other name on it, and everyone probably would have loved it more, but because we're all expecting it to kind of follow the American Ninja lore, it's very loose anyway. Mm-hmm. It just didn't quite do it. And then we get Dudikoff back in the fourth one.
Mm-hmm.
So
nice segue. There you go. Hey, I like it.
I'm good at these segues.
So let's get into it. So again, American Ninja 4. Once again, I see the insert in the magazine, and I see Michael Dudikoff and the guy from American Ninja 3. I'm like, well, where's Steve James now? Steve James is gone. I'm like, okay, so we're like subtract addition by subtraction. It's like okay, well, all right, well at least Michael Dudikoff's back, and okay, I have a love-hate relationship with this, and I'll let you know, but I'm gonna let you go first with American Ninja.
Well, I have no problem with you going because I'm gonna tell you it was queued up to play, and then I realized it was time to eat dinner.
Okay.
So I have not watched the fourth one in probably 20 years.
No worries. I got you. All right. So in American Ninja 3, Steve James left the army, and that's how they, told that, like, this is why he's not with Joe anymore. He got out of the army, and now he's just doing his thing, I guess go around to different countries competing in sword competitions at tournaments. But now, Joe has left the army, and he's doing his peace work, in some Africa. And again, this is all filmed in Africa because, this was Cannon's later days where the, Golan and Globus weren't even involved anymore. And they were losing money. You could tell the movie budgets weren't there anymore. And they're filming in these foreign countries, because it's cheaper. And again, I'm not dissing it. I get it. It's done to this day. But yeah, so now David Bradley, and it's weird because David Bradley was just some guy who was trained to be a ninja by, his dad's friend who happened to be a ninja master. It's like, well, hey, isn't that a coincidence, But
like they do.
yeah, but now David Bradley is this top secret. I'm not going to say CIA, some type of government agent. I'm like, well, how did he get this gig? I guess because of what he did in Americans, because they never explain it. He just is. He's just
Right.
he's just this.
He's almost playing a different character.
Yes.
But he's not. It's still the same guy.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, it's a ninja movie. What are you gonna do? Go with it, And then he's got his partner, the black guy. I don't even remember this guy's name, but he was a total dork. And I'm like, I don't even know how this guy is a field operative. But yet, we have a problem. Joe, I forget what his name was, but and they're like, there's this madman who has a nuclear bomb, but he has an army of ninjas. So they call David Bradley in, and he's like, and of course, at the beginning, they sent in a Delta Force team to try to get them, and they totally got manhandled by the ninja team. So, but there's like 4 or 5 Delta Force operatives that are being held captive, and they send David Bradley and his comrade to go get them, but things don't work out, and David Bradley has a cool battle with the ninjas in the forest and everything, but before that he has to do the splits and meditate, which is kind of cool, because hey, when ninjas are after you, you gotta stretch. So and I love it because nobody wears the freaking ninja mask in this one. All he does is he pulls up and it goes over his nose, and that's the extent of him wearing a ninja outfit. Yeah, and I was like, all right, okay, well, at least he put something on. And then he has this little fight with them, but then they get captured, and then guess who they go to? They go to Joe Armstrong, and then Joe's been out of it. He doesn't want to do it anymore. He's doing his peace thing, peace mission thing. And then of course they go to see him, and he's like, I told you last time it was the last time type of thing, and but of course they tell him what happened, and for some reason he's friends with David Bradley's character, but yet I'm like, wait a second. So did this happen between the third and the fourth? I'm confused. It's like, it's just, they're making this shit up as they go just to make a plot. It's like, okay, so they send him in, and of course he goes in to save the day. And Kelly McClung, who's a martial artist, and I'm friends with him on Facebook too. I actually wanted to try to interview him one of these times because he starred in a bunch of B movies, from the 90s that I saw. But he had the worst ninja outfit. It didn't cover his face, and he had same thing. He had like an eye patch on, and of course Michael Dudikoff doesn't wear. He does wear a ninja outfit for a little bit, but then he takes it off. And then for some reason he changes, I guess, to disguise himself as the other ninjas because they had like red and blue, but he's wearing a yellow and it's the worst looking outfit. I'm like, that's the one he chose to do his final fight with, and I'm like, oh my god, this is horrendous. So it's like, I have a total love-hate relationship with this. I have it, don't get me wrong, and I've seen it more than once, but to this day I just I think I watch it every time just thinking I'm gonna figure it out and see where the hell they were going.
I just pulled up a picture of him in the yellow outfit.
Yes.
It is straight up Mortal Kombat-ish.
Yes.
But it's not well done Mortal. It's like the build your own character, and I wanted to put Michael Dudikoff's head on it. That's pretty much.
Well, do you see the guy?
Like.
Do you see the guy next to him? He's fighting his outfit. Do you see that guy in the picture?
I don't see that picture. Well, I see some dude that looks like he's in a BDSM outfit. That's not it.
Well, yeah, there's a bunch of South African freedom fighters too that they get to help them and
there's only a few pictures that show me, but I see the yellow one for sure.
Yeah. So
I'll put it on the watch list when I just want to kill some time.
Oh, absolutely.
I won't rush out to go watch it anytime.
No. And again, because I'm a Dudikoff fan and completist, if you will, so I'm like, yeah, and I don't hate it. I'm just like, American Ninja 2 was like, just I thought that was after that it was gonna be like, ooh, now we know what's going on, but then it was just like, it was going up, and then the roller coaster. And I don't even want to talk about American Ninja 5 because it's not technically an American Ninja movie. They just slapped American Ninja 5 on it because it had David Bradley, and he's a totally different guy who befriends this kid who's a ninja, and it was like 3 ninjas again. I don't know if you've seen that movie. Have you seen that movie?
No, I was gonna say I didn't even realize there was a fifth one.
Yeah. Well, okay. And here's the story behind that one. I'll educate you now, and I'll let you decide if you want to see it. It's okay. Now, there's pluses to it. Again, David Bradley's in it, and he's a legit martial artist, and he's got skills. And James Liu's in it. He plays the Viper, but he's in this horrible outfit with a cape and everything, and it's just. And then he befriend David Bradley's character befriends this kid who happens to be a ninja and he doesn't know it, so he has to protect them. And of course, there's some good fighting in it and stuff like that. But it wasn't even an American ninja movie. But this is technically a canon film, but we're talking canon where we're talking canon. They were what were they doing? They were hang on a second. I got some stuff coming up on my screen that I'm going to get rid of. Hang on. I don't know who popped in, but they are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So, you go bye-bye.
Looks like we're getting spammed.
Yeah. I'm removing them. All right. So I was, what was I talking about? Refresh my memory.
We were talking about the reason why it was called American Ninja.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Canon on its download.
Yeah. And again, it wasn't even, Going to Globus were gone. Like, Globus was doing his thing with 21st Century and everything, and they were trying to get off the name, live off the name of the American Ninja, and it had nothing to do with it. And I remember watching it, and I was like, yeah, it's okay for it was like a PG-13 Three Ninjas type of movie with David Bradley in it is the best way to explain it. So
okay, well, that's
really,
it was one of those times when they were just like they could because their whole market strategy was to sell movies overseas before they made them.
Yes.
So if they slap a name on it, they didn't care what the movie was when it went out there because it's already been paid for. So yeah, we're gonna say it's the fifth American Ninja movie. People are gonna buy that until they get it and go, "This is an American. This is an American Ninja."
What am I watching? Yeah, so put that on your list. I just want you to watch. I want you to watch him to just let me know what you think of him because you're. And again, I haven't seen that in years. I have not seen American Ninja 5. Let's see, I've been in my house now for 5 years almost. It was probably longer than that. So I can't even remember the last time I saw American Ninja 5. I think it was on cable when I had cable. But yeah, I think that's the last time I saw it. So I just remember he fought James Liu at the end, and it was a pretty okay fight because, you had two skilled martial artists fighting each other. But for other than that, it was nothing. So there you go. There's the American Ninja movies. So we got through all 5 of them. Now let's talk about I wanted to get into a few more here. I don't know how much time you got. You're good? Okay. So let's talk about the Scott Adkins movies now. So again, Scott Adkins is one of the most underrated martial arts stars in action cinema history at the moment. And again, I always say how it pisses me off this day that he's not more mainstream than he is. I mean, he's got legions of fans, but unfortunately, if you go on the street and you ask people who Scott Adkins, and 9 times out of 10, someone's gonna not know who he is, and that makes me.
I've sung his praises for years, and I have always gotten that handful of people that went, "Who?"
Yep.
Well, if Charlie recommends him, he's got to be pretty badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone has probably seen him, and they have no idea who he is.
Exactly.
Even as far as he's been in a Marvel movie,
yeah.
They don't know who he is.
That's the thing. Yeah, when he does big budget movies, he's got like these little itty bitty roles. That's why I'm kind of afraid of. Excuse me. Hang on. All right, John Wick, because I think I'm hoping that Chad Stahelski, who knows who he is, will utilize him, like he does with everybody else. I just don't want it to be like in another like in Doctor Strange where he was just one of those henchmen guys, with the no eyeballs, like running around and stuff like that. So I don't want it to be that. But anyway, going back to that, Scott Adkins did 2 Ninja films. We have Ninja, and of course, Ninja 2: Shadow of a Tear. Now, Ninja reunited him with Isaac Florentine, who did his Undisputed films. That's the pinnacle, of Scott Adkins' career. And have you seen? You've seen Ninja, right?
I want to say I watched it when it came out.
Okay.
And it's been a while.
Okay.
Since those movies.
Okay.
I've seen the Undisputeds more recently.
Okay.
And some of those more recent movies.
That's
fine. Go ahead. You go ahead and walk us through the Ninja movies. With
Scott. So it's funny because I remember when they teased it, and I was like, oh my God, Scott Adkins is making a ninja movie, and then it came out, and this movie gets a lot of heat from a lot of fans because it's not Undisputed 3 type caliber Isaac Florentine and Scott Adkins, if you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch, and I feel like they made Undisputed 3, and of course Boyka I thought was even better, but and Florentine didn't even direct that movie; he just produced it. But I think they made those movies, and everybody was expecting every single movie to be like that. Where Ninja, I love Ninja, but a lot of people, and of course running the website, I've talked to a lot of people who have seen Ninja, and they hate the movie, and I to this day cannot fathom why. It's got fight scenes. It's like 85 minutes long. So there's no pacing issues whatsoever. It's like from the get-go. It's just like, it's just wall to wall, them running around and fighting and everything. And it's got one of his best fight scenes in it where he does all of his, theatrical, gymnastics type stunts and stuff like that. And he does wear the ninja uniform at the end, fights the other guy who has a ninja uniform. Now, again, my only complaint is that their fight scene at the end with the swords is a little cut short. But I was a fan of it, and to this day, I don't understand some of the hate for it. I mean, I think people were thinking that they wanted to get that, Undisputed 3 magic back, and it just didn't happen. Well, of course, they fixed it with the second one. Now, how familiar are you with the second one?
Now, the second one I haven't watched.
Oh my God, Charlie!
I didn't know he did a second Ninja movie.
Okay.
Until like today.
Okay. Well, here's what you got to do. You're going to watch these movies, and then we're going to have another stream about these movies.
I can do that.
Absolutely.
I mean, Scott Adkins, you're not asking me to do anything I'm not looking forward to doing.
No, and I didn't want to put you on the spot. I remember
when Ninja came out, and I think it was it 2008, 2009?
Yeah, it was somewhere. Yeah, it was somewhere around there.
He was still, even to me, was fairly unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Even the Undisputed movies weren't huge.
Right.
And I know I had seen it, and I know I enjoyed it. It was one of those that was a good movie. There was nothing in that I didn't enjoy. No. I just never watched it again. It's just not from not wanting to. It was just. It never got on my radar.
Absolutely. Now, again, and then at the end, they're wearing the ninja uniforms. They're using all the weapons. They got stars and stuff like that. They got the swords. They got some cool stuff happening. And then there's the fight choreography. A little bit of the Undisputed stuff going on and everything. The ending is cut a little short too. I wanted a little bit longer fight with him and the evil ninja. That he was friends with at the beginning, but then got kicked out because he was mad that the American was taking over the dojo as it will. Now, Ninja 2: Shadow of a Tear is probably considered to be, by some, one of the best martial arts movies made in the West, besides the Undisputed 3. Isaac Florentine and him. And my only complaint with Ninja 2, and you'll find this when you watch it, is he wears the ninja uniform for 5 minutes, if that. Yeah, he wears it he invades this compound, and I don't know if you know who Tim Mann is, but Tim Mann is a guy he's been working with regularly, who's been in movies, but is one of the top-rated fight choreographers in movies today. And he has a fight with him that's truly unbelievable. And the whole movie is just filled with spectacular martial arts action. It's just not really a ninja movie. We know that he's the same character and he's a ninja because we saw him in the first movie, but he literally only wears the ninja uniform for 5 maybe so minutes when he invades this, and it's a cool outfit, don't get me wrong, but then of course that the mask comes off, and but it's got some of the best fight scenes, and I would say that this is Undisputed caliber fight, and this is probably one of their best movies out of the Undisputed realm, if you will. Right. Yeah, so you definitely put that one on your list, and then we're going to talk about that.
What I'll do is I'll watch them back to back. That way it'll feel like he took the mask off just so he could finish out the mission. That's how I'll do it on that one. I'll watch Ninja and then Shadow of a Tear.
Absolutely.
So I've got that all written down under Pray for Death.
Absolutely.
So I got a list going here.
Yeah, so maybe we'll just do a stream one week where we just talk about those movies and maybe some of his other movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, we can do that.
And before we go on, and again, I love you, man. You did this short notice. I want to let everybody know that you came on here. You know, just I didn't want to be by myself today.
No, it's all good, man. Yeah, I mean, if I knew nothing, I probably would have said no, I can't.
Yeah.
But I have no problem throwing on some ninja movies to watch. It is funny that the one I'm most familiar with today is The Domination. But there is one more movie we wanted to talk about.
Yes.
That I am very familiar with.
Okay, cool.
I watch this movie constantly in the shop.
Ninja Assassin.
Ninja Assassin.
Absolutely.
I adore this movie.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Now I will give the floor to you now, sir. Now you take it over.
Okay, fine. Ninja Assassin had no clue what I was getting into when I first watched this movie. Other than I saw the trailer.
Yep.
And it looked interesting. Like I was like, okay, it's got my attention. And that movie grabbed hold of me in the first 10 minutes.
Okay.
And and if anyone's seen this movie, you know what we're talking about. They eviscerate this entire gang of guys with the one guy that survived a ninja attack, which I still think is kind of funny. But this movie just went balls to the wall, just flat out. And I love this movie. And then after I watched the movie, and we'll talk more about it, but I want to point out that the actor, I had no idea he was a K-pop singer who didn't really know martial arts until he did this movie.
Right?
I never would have believed you.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Yeah, his name's Rain. Rain. He's like Madonna. It's like one word name.
And I know that some of the type of movies around this time is when we got the CGI blood, and a lot of people hate movies that do that. This one worked, and because it was CGI blood, we got a lot of it. They did not hold back in this movie whatsoever with the like you hear about movies back when we were just talking about the canon days and 80s and 90s. They have to send a movie back and take things to not get an X rating. Send it back, not take some violence out. I don't know how this movie got out. There's so much violence in this. There's body parts everywhere. There's just heads getting lopped off. It is the most visually insane movie I had watched, and I'm gushing. You can tell how much I love this movie.
Gush.
It's so beautifully shot. And how it was acted. I love this movie, John.
Okay.
I do. I love Ninja Assassin. I have DVD, the Blu-ray. I have bought this movie for people because they'll be like, I've never heard of it. Here, take my copy. I'll go buy another one. That's how I've been with this movie. I want them to do another one.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever get it because we're now talking about 2009 when that movie came out.
No, I think that ship has sailed.
I wish Rain would have kept going.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. Ninja Assassin was released the same year that Ninja with Scott Adkins was. And of course, Ninja Assassin was a bigger budgeted motion picture, and Ninja was more independent. So I think Ninja got lost, with those two movies coming out at the same time. Now, with that, I'll everything you just said about Ninja Assassin, I concur 150%. No, I knew what I was getting into going into this movie because I read about it, I studied up on it. I followed it, when it was being made and everything. Now, I wasn't doing my website at the time, but if a movie interested me, I still, checked it out and like what was going on and everything. And I heard how violent it was, I just remember going to the movie theater for the first time. And just the first scene in itself, where the guy's head goes off and he's talking, and you're just like, oh, it's going to be one of those kind of movies. And I love the fact that when they throw the ninja stars, it's like machine guns. Like the ninja stars are getting thrown like machine gun, like tracer fire from a machine gun. That's how fast, and they're just shredding people to pieces. I mean, it's not like hitting like in the original ninja movies where they throw it once and it's like, the guy gets hit. It's like they're getting.
It was all of a sudden a cut scene, and then there's the guy holding the shuriken.
Yeah, he's like, oh. Yeah, these guys.
This one even went so far as to show show you the inside of someone and, messing them up from the inside.
Yeah.
I love this movie. I know it also isn't very high rated. I think the fans of it are fans of it.
Yeah.
And if you like it, you like it.
If you don't
didn't like it, I don't know what's wrong with you. But to me, this one, I would have to go like it's a 9 in my book. I love the ending. I love the story of him and the girl.
Yes.
And everything leading up to it. And, his punishment plus his training as the movie went on, you felt it. And again, I'm blown away that this is some K-pop singer, boy band guy that is pulling this off. And I'm sold. And then the final fight in this movie is probably still one of my absolute favorite final fights in a movie. When he fights his master with the whole disappearing, we have this power and they can heal and they can disappear into the mist and it's nothing but fire surrounding them. I love this movie. John, I don't know if I know, but I love this movie.
How much? No. Anyway, you forgot the most important part, Charlie. Sho Kosugi's back. He's back in a ninja. Now, obviously, he's older and he can't do the shit that he was doing back in the 1980s. But it was still great to see Sho Kosugi back, and he looks damn good. And now it's 2009 that this was made, so he's older now. So I don't know what he looks like now.
He's a bit older now, but no, it was great to see. Yeah, because again, that familiar face. He's one of those that when I see him, I know who that is.
Yeah.
That is Sho Kosugi.
Yeah.
And it's also pretty awesome because this movie is full of like a lot of unknowns at the time. There's not like really there wasn't like a big name that was carrying this movie. Okay, maybe the guy that played Han in Fast and the Furious. He's probably like one of the most familiar faces in this one.
Yeah.
Sun Kang.
Yes.
He's probably one of the ones I remembered his face. Naomi Harris, I know her.
Yeah.
Again, she wasn't doing like huge movies either.
Yeah, she was starting out, wasn't she, when that movie was made?
I can't knock Sho Kosugi being in this movie, but God, this movie.
But not only is he in it, but they use him, and he fights him at the end. I was so dreading that he was going to be in the movie, but then he was just going to be like, Rick Yoon, again, great bad guy in this movie, and his fight with him at the end, he stabs him and the blood's just pouring out of the side of it. It's just like, that's a lot of blood. I think all the blood is leaving his body. It's just like...
I love how much blood pressure apparently you have in a martial arts fight, because it always sprays out.
Oh, I got a funny story. That reminds me. I was watching Revenge of the Ninja, and my wife just woke up because she works third shift. And she sits on the couch with me. I'm sitting there all gimped up and everything. And she's like, "What are you watching?" And I go, "This is called Revenge of the Ninja, honey." She's like, is this one of your movies? This was made before I was born. She was born in 85. So she's younger than I am. Like, yes.
Oh, okay.
This was made in 1983, I believe. And then at the end, when he kills him and he pulls it out and the blood's spraying out, she just looks over. She looks over at me. She's like, "That would never happen." I go, "I know, but it's still cool."
We love it, and we still do it to this day. Ask Quentin Tarantino. Ask the guy that did Just Assassin. We want blood spray.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 50 psi of blood flying out of people's bodies. But how much power, the emotion and power the final fight had between Rain and Sho Kosugi, it was believable. You felt that. That was some acting.
Yeah.
That wasn't just depending on choreography in this movie.
Well,
there's damn good acting in this movie.
Well, Sho Kosugi, again, I can't remember. Do you remember what his character's name was? I can't for life.
I can look it up.
Yeah, look it up if you can for a second. But Sho Kosugi, he was one of those guys that didn't think he was a bad guy. He ran a ninja cult and he was going to train you. And he was going to be a dick about it. And that's just the way he was. And what happened with the girl and everything, that was just to make him a harder man, and
it was to teach him a lesson. His name is
Ozuno. Yeah, Zuno. Okay, thank you.
And but that was it. It was, they were clans. They were families. You weren't born into it, but you were born by blood and,
bone breaking.
Now you're family, because he considers him, his son. You're one of my children. That's it's very cultish when you watch the movie. And that's exactly how it is he's like brainwashing this group of assassins. And when they show the younger version of Rain and he goes on his first mission and almost gets obliterated by that really heavy-set guy that he stabs him like 27 times, and the guy's like, okay, that tickles.
Ouch.
That look of panic on his face, like, oh shit, what do I do now? But, what you're saying, where he didn't feel like he was the bad guy in his mind, and that's how he plays it. And the whole time, it's like he's given Rain the final lesson in life. I may have to kill you to teach you this lesson, but you're getting the final lesson that I have to teach you.
Yeah, and
again, it's God. I'm gonna have to watch it again tomorrow, John. Thanks.
You know what? I might put it on when we're done here. I gotta finish Ninja 3 though. I gotta finish Ninja 3 though, but then I'll put that one. But let me go back to saying and Shokasugi, I think, felt that Rain was the bad guy because he technically betrayed the clan and him. And you don't do that, and this is because they were still living in the the 14th century or whatever, and like they just, this is how you are when you're, and he didn't ask to be in the clan, Rain did, and so he didn't want to be part of it, but Shokasugi took that to heart, and that's why he wanted to hunt him down, and he didn't think he was the bad guy at all. But let me tell you, the whole movie, and again, the biggest complaints I've heard about it is how dark it is in some places, and it is. There's like when they're in that in the middle part of the movie, before
where they're in the prison,
yeah,
where they trapped him,
and the ninjas are. And I remember one person asking me what we were talking about one time. He's like, they wear black uniforms. Why is it so dark? I'm like, that's a good point. It's like, but I think it's because they wanted, they are
part of the darkness.
Yeah. Yes.
So you have to have a dark movie for them to move in the shadows.
Yeah. You don't want to have it in a snow-capped mountain region somewhere.
No,
they
want
a
bunch of storm shadows running around everywhere.
So that's what I told the guy. I said, I think they're trying to, it's the mystic appeal to it. Like you can't see them coming, you before it's too late, and it's like, you just hear, and I love the noises like they would make, like, before they attack.
They were so creepy.
Yeah.
With that. And then the camera would focus in on one dark corner.
Yes.
And it was almost like they just appeared out of mist.
Yes.
It was very horror movie-ish.
Thank you.
And while I get, there was also this whole big thing the early 2000s to 2010s. Movies were dark.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the visual, not that they were dark in tone. They just made dark-ass movies. And it worked better in a theater. But now that we have Blu-ray and 4K, I think the darks work good.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would want this movie lightened up.
No.
I think it works exactly, because then it makes the end of the movie with the building on fire all that much more impactful. Where you're like, there is no shadow to hide in.
Yes.
Yet they still materialize out of thin air.
And they're they're like these evil things that that's why people were scared of them, and that's the history of the ninja. Like, it wasn't like Revenge of the Ninja or it wasn't like Ninja 3 where he's running through the desert with the cops chasing him. And again, it
was kind of gray. It wasn't black. It was kind of gray in his outfit.
It looked like his outfit kind of looked corduroy-ish, if I'm not mistaken. When I'm watching it.
It did.
So anyway, I'm getting okay. With my disorder, I can't get off track. So hang on. So I'm talking about So hang on.
Corduroy, all I can picture is a ninja running down the road going.
But he's running faster than that cop car, Charlie. Let me tell you, he was still beating it.
I just catch on fire, John.
So, but yeah, and I love that fact that you said we were talking about the horror movie aspect of it, because did you see the recent Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that came on Netflix?
Yes.
Well, that right there tells me what you thought of it, Charlie. Right? What's that?
We covered it.
I'll have to listen to it. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and listen to your podcast too. I like because I'm having trouble going to sleep. Because of my arm and and stuff. I have to sleep on my recliner downstairs in my living room because I can't move.
John, I'll lull you to sleep with the podcast.
But no, I'm gonna put them in my earphones because I've been listening to stuff to try to help me go to sleep. But I'm not saying that in a bad way. But that's my. I'm not saying it's gonna put me to sleep. It relaxes me, hearing things that I like, and stuff like that. It makes me fall asleep, Charlie. No, but anyway, I saw it too, and I'm not as big of a horror fan as you are. I enjoy horror movies, to a certain extent, but not like action movies. But one night I was by myself. My wife was working. My kids were in bed. And I was like, and I saw it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it out, because I heard about it and how violent it was. And it's violent. But I'm watching this movie and I'm thinking to myself, Ninja Assassin is more violent than this movie.
Oh, God, yes.
But that goes to my point.
This is more violent than a lot of horror movies.
Now, the bus scene, and again, I'm getting off topic, but that's okay. The bus scene in it was totally cool. Like how he just goes through all those people in the bus and everything.
Yeah, and that's just gore for gore's sake.
Yes.
That whole scene in there. And yeah, Ninja Assassin is kind of gore for gore's sake in it. But they're ninjas with sharp objects. I kind of expect a lot of body parts and blood to be flying across the screen.
Okay, you just brought another point that I wanted to make in my head. So this goes back to, you said they have sharp instruments. So this is horror movie violent, and it's not like an action movie in that respect. And this goes back to the fourth Rambo movie, how violent that movie was. Have you seen the fourth Rambo movie?
Oh, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, at the end when he's on the 50 cal, that's what a 50 caliber does to people when the bullets hit them. People were complaining how violent it was. They were making it realistic. It's like when a 50 caliber round hits you, you just don't fall over. You get shredded to freaking pieces.
You basically explode.
Yes.
Whatever piece hits.
And then when he hits all the guys in the truck, and they turn into mush. It's just like a bunch of body parts, and I don't know what the hell was going on, but their mothers wouldn't recognize them when.
No, it's just
but
like the sniper rifle guy when he takes a shot on someone and their head's gone. And it's that's how that works when you use a 50 cal.
Yes. So, and that goes back to what you were saying. Yes, they have bladed weapons. So, in a sense, did they go over the top? Yes, they did. But I loved every second of it. But that's what happens when I think that's what would happen when you're throwing stars at somebody. I think that's what's going to happen to the human body. Not like with them catching it and stuff like that. So it works.
It's going to suck.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm right there with you. Ninja Assassin's one of my. I have mad love for the older ones because, like I said, that's what I grew up on. That was my introduction. Like I said on Friday, Sho Kosugi and Chuck Norris was my introduction to action cinema. So I have nothing but mad respect for both of those guys.
Right.
But Ninja Assassin is just it's so much fun. And like you said, Rain has no business being in this movie where he plays this badass ninja assassin. And that's the other thing. People,
so good at it.
Yes.
He has no business being this good.
Well, here's the thing, and I don't want to sound bad or anything, but that's why when you see an Asian person, you automatically think they're good with the martial arts because you just said it. He was in no way, shape, or form a martial artist, but look what they did with him in the time that they had to train him, and he looked like he had been doing it since he was Brandon Lee's age as a little baby with Bruce Lee training.
Yep. And that's. I know it's a stereotype, but unfortunately, we're children of the 80s and 90s. That was kind of bored into our brain that's how it works. And even in this movie, they kind of poke fun of it with the guy that plays Han. I forgot his name already. Where he's not like some martial artist type guy. He works for the cops.
Yeah.
He just works in that district because he looks like everyone else.
Yes.
But they do that whole thing where he's like, I don't do all that martial arts stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, his name was Hollywood in the movie. I don't even think they say that in the movie.
All right, so We're gonna wrap it up here in a couple minutes, because we pretty much again, if I forgot any, there's probably some more movies I wanted to talk about, but I'll have to go back and research them. Like I said, you check out those movies we talked
I'll
about.
check out those and we'll watch them again. But I think Ninja Assassin's the perfect one to kind of put the cherry on the top.
It's all downhill from there, Charlie.
100%.
Now I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Now with the movies that you've seen, now this goes with the movies that you've seen. Now you can either give me top 5 or top 3 in order your favorite ninja movies, just off the top of your head. And again, Charlie, it could change tomorrow. It could change tomorrow. I don't really care.
I'll do top 3. I'm obviously gonna say Ninja Assassin.
Yep.
That's number 1. And that's nothing against anything nostalgia wise.
No.
I just love that movie.
Yep.
Second one, American Ninja 2.
Okay.
Absolutely love that movie. It's awesome. And the other one, Three Ninjas. That's what I'm gonna go with. You know, it's those are some of my favorite ninja movies.
What was that last one?
I said Three Ninjas. I'm going with Three Ninjas.
I was not expecting that. We didn't even talk about that. Hell, we might have to have a stream about those movies, for God's sake. I remember.
But no, again, as a child of the '90s, ninja was in my vocabulary.
Yeah.
If I got to put an actual one in there, I would probably say one of the Revenge of the Ninjas, or the one I can't remember which one comes first or second.
Yeah.
But definitely a Shokasugi. But I can't not, lump in the movies I grew up with, which was Ninja Turtles, Surf Ninjas, Three Ninjas. They were ingrained in my brain. It was that's what I knew. And then as I got older, I got to watch the more violent stuff. So I could then get into the American Ninjas and stuff like that. So I got to show some love to the PG line of ninja movies. Even though we didn't talk about them, but we all grew up with it. If you're our age or close to it,
yeah,
those have a special place in your heart as when it comes to ninja movies.
Well, before I give you I'm going to do a top 5. But before I say that, you just brought up a really good point. And this is one thing that pisses me off the most about when I hear readers or followers say this, like that every action movie has to be over the top violence. And no, it doesn't. A PG-13 action movie is just as good as an R-rated action movie if the action's done well. I don't need to always see blood spewing out of the guy going, 50 feet, in front of him. When it happens, it's freaking awesome, and I enjoy it just as much as the guy sitting next to me. But I don't need to have overly violent action movies. If it's still done well, it's still a good action movie. And I fight with people all the time because you got these diehards that think like every single movie has to have heads go. Like when the Expendables movies came out, this isn't what we grew up on. I'm like, it kind of is, especially the first one, because it's got the same tone as what I grew up on now. And then, it's got CG blood. Well, I get it. He's probably trying to save money. I don't know. But it's like, what are your thoughts on that real quick?
Well, I have no problem with the PG-13 type movies. I mean, we grew up with movies that were uber violent, and they were PG, for God's sakes. I mean, we just covered Beastmaster.
Yeah.
Beastmaster's super violent, and nudity.
And there's a lot of nudity. Tanya Roberts is like naked through like 10-20% of that movie.
Yeah. But,
God rest her soul.
You get into these Expendable movies. I feel like the first Expendables is the beginning of this is how action movies started. Good characters, bigger than life, good action, violence, language, boom. Second one, they upped the ante and went, let's go uber violent, let's go uber over the top, and I enjoyed it. Again, another Scott Adkins, great vehicle for him. And the third one was still good action, but they went down the PG-13 line, and I think it did piss a lot of people off. And I feel like they got maybe a little goofy, but I still watch it. I still pop that movie in and enjoy. I love Antonio Banderas in that movie. I have no problem with him whatsoever. But I don't think, a PG, just because it was a PG-13 is like a death sentence to an action movie.
Right.
Now, I covered 90% R-rated action movies. That's just what I grew up on. But if you give me a good, solid PG-13 action movie, I'm going to watch it. And if it's good, it's good. And I'm going to sing its praises.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of R-rated movies that probably should have been PG-13. You know what I mean? They could have subtracted maybe a little bit of language or maybe a tad bit of nudity because they were trying for that R. They easily could have been just a good movie. I'm talking like movies like Speed, stuff like that. You know, they were movies that totally could have lived in a PG-13, rating and still been just as good.
Yeah. Well, thank you, because you just we actually did a Action Elite show on the Expendables movies, and everybody was dissing on Expendables 3, and I was over here going, I liked it, don't shoot me,
It gave me what it told me it was going to give me.
Yeah.
A new team. Yes, it's going to be a lot of new people. We all knew Ronda Rousey was going to be in it. No big deal.
Yeah.
More young MMA fighters.
Yeah.
And they just cut out language and some blood. And I'll stand up for the CG blood argument because that just means when they need to reset a shot, they're not cleaning up the set. Could you imagine in Ninja Assassin, if they hadn't used CG blood, how much blood they would have had to clean up if they screwed up a shot?
Yeah.
Or they just would have went, that was good enough, and we'd have got a shitty-ass movie out of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's fine.
And
as long as it doesn't look like a cartoon,
exactly.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, some of these lower indie movies that I get to review, they send them to me. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, it's just, no, stop, please. It's just, it doesn't look good.
On the screen. Like, literally, they drew it on my television screen.
Yeah.
That stuff, I agree with you. It's not well done. But the CG blood from the Expendables, the Ninja Assassins, all these type of movies, I am fine with it as long as they do it right. Okay. And you can give me gallons of it. Yeah. And it's fine. I'm good with it.
Yeah. See, I'm a fan. I'm like I always call myself a fanboy, but I'm not a fanboy that's ridiculous. Where like if they change something about a movie from a comic book or so, I don't like jump off a cliff or something. And when they made Expendables 3 and it was PG-13, I was one of the people that was like, okay. And I'll tell you one. I said this during our live stream when we were talking about it. The ending is more violent than any other movies. That body count is like 250. It's like just because you don't see heads going off every 5 seconds or body limbs flying off, but you saw blood spray and you saw guys getting, and when they're coming through with those helicopters and Harrison Ford and them, and they're like mowing like 50 guys in a second. It's like,
it would have been R-rated if that movie came out in the 90s.
Yes.
Our tolerance is getting higher.
Yes.
For these type of, like, look what they're putting. Like, I gotta be careful with my kids, even with superhero movies. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they get really, really dark and violent. I still have some young kids, and even the shows that they're putting on, the new Marvels on Disney, I still have to be cautious about how dark they're getting as far as content and context, and they're still just PG-13. Yep. But man, they're really towing that line for the younger audience.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly. You're exactly right. I like the Fast and Furious movies, and I know that gets shit upon, like especially the last ones that have been coming out because it's so off the wall and everything. But I enjoy them because it's summer entertainment, and I can have my daughters watch them with me. Yeah, they swear a little bit. Yeah, there's a lot of vehicular stuff going on, but it's not overly violent. And my 6-year-old can sit down and watch it with me, and I enjoy that aspect as a dad. I'm not 14, 15 years old anymore, and you're exactly right. And I'll tell you what, Lone Wolf McQuay, which was my first Chuck Norris movie, that movie was PG. That movie should have been rated R.
How many Clint Eastwood westerns did we grow up watching that were PG that should have been R?
Absolutely.
I do believe the first boob I saw on television was The Outlaw Josie Wales, and that movie is PG.
You just said Beastmaster, and Tanya Roberts takes her shirt off.
Well, it's funny. I only ever watched that movie on TBS. I didn't know there was that much nudity into it till we covered it in January.
Oh, you saw it uncut? Oh, yeah.
But I mean, that's how I consumed. Again, small town. Yeah. We only rented movies once in a while.
I understand.
Didn't rent all the time. So it was, and my grandmother was the one that had cable. So it was Saturdays or Sundays. I'd get to watch what was on. Guess what was on TBS 90% of the time?
Beastmaster.
And it was cut. But I knew that movie by heart, and it wasn't just me. My other co-host was watching it going, hey, man, I don't remember all these boobs in this movie. I'm like, so we never watched this on HBO, right? And I don't think so, apparently.
Well, that's the thing. Like, and again, J-Man said the same thing on Friday. You know, they had their whatever channel it was in Canada, but I had the same thing. Mine was WUAB 43, and they showed all these movies. You know, of course, it was television, commercial television. But like same thing. We got cable. When we got cable, it was a whole different. I was like, whoa, wait a second, you know. And like you're talking about Beastmaster. That's how I saw Beastmaster. I can't remember if I saw that in the theater or not. I can't remember. But same thing. I was a fan of all that sword and sorcery stuff because that's what they were showing on cable at the time. You had Beastmaster, you had Hawk the Slayer, you had the Sword and the Sorcerer, all these great freaking sword movies. You know, Conan the Barbarian, which is a classic. You know, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's coming out party as an action hero. And it's just, you know, it was just a great time. And yeah, TBS. I remember it well. Like every time I turned on TBS, it was like, oh, there's Mark Singer running around in a loincloth.
Mark Singer running in a loincloth. There we go. It's hilarious.
And I saw him in an interview. I always wanted to interview, and he seems like a pretty cool guy. I would just have to try to find a way to interview because these other guys got a hold of him, and they were talking about pretty much his whole career. But I would just like to talk to him about Beastmaster and V because those are the two things that I love him in. And I just wanted because he was talking about how, you know, he was in shape, and they gave him the outfit he was going to wear. He was like, all right, you're paying me. It's like, so let me strap it.
Yes. We just interviewed Joshua Milrat,
right?
And he played Tall.
Yes,
he was the kid, and he was telling us stuff about on set. And he almost didn't do the movie when they brought the costume in. I mean, you're talking this kid was 12 years old and went, I'm not wearing that. And they had to get Mark Singer and John Amos to come in and talk to him and go, this is what we're wearing. You're going to be fine. We're all running around in almost nothing.
Yeah.
Let's do the movie. Let's do it. But no, that was awesome. I'm talking to someone that I grew up watching this movie, and this guy was in it, and I was just like, this is awesome. But you know,
right, and you said it. I talked to Marshall Teague last couple weeks ago, and I'm a big fan of his, from Roadhouse to his Walker, Texas Ranger, and all the movies that he's done. And just talking to him, I've seen Roadhouse probably 8,000 times, and that's probably an accurate number. And that fight between him and Patrick Swayze is one of my all-time favorites. And then I'm sitting here looking at him on the screen. He's talking to me about that fight and giving me these behind-the-scenes stuff that you didn't know about. I was just like, I'm like, it's a good thing this is an audio podcast because my face was just like, And you must have been the same way listening to him talk about Beastmaster. You're just like, I've seen this movie like 8,000 times, and here's this guy. Well, he was a kid at the time, and telling me all this stuff that I didn't know about. You know, it's priceless.
It's surreal sometimes. What we do, man. It's fun though. I love it.
When I started this website 7 years ago, I did not think that I mean, I know I'm not JoeBlow.com or anything, you know, but I would not have thought that I would be like, you know, where I'm at right now with this thing. And it's like, it's phenomenal. Now I'm talking to great people. You know, I hooked up with Owen a couple of years ago. Now you and it's just, it's like that's why I told Owen, like, it seems like action blogging communities like clicky. You know, and I'll say it, you know, you got these guys over here, these guys over here. And I'll talk to anybody but it seems like a lot of people have kind of a standoffish attitude to other people who do action websites. You know what I'm saying?
And I look at it like this. As an action fan, I try to consume as much information as I can.
Exactly.
So if I find one website, that tells me there's another website somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go consume their material.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I listen to other action podcasts. I'm friends with a lot of other action podcasts. We all just network together, share our shit around, and we all benefit from it.
Yeah.
I don't get the where we got to be hush hush. No, I can't tell anyone about you. I have X amount of followers. I have all this. You can't. Why? That person probably wants to hear what I might have to say. It doesn't matter if we're covering the same exact movie.
Exactly.
I might have a different take on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you said it right, though. Clicky can get very tiresome in this industry.
Yeah, and I just want to be like, I don't care who you are, as long as you're a nice guy or girl. I mean, you could be. I don't care, and like just support each other and just have fun. Talk because life sucks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's enough shit going on, man. We don't need to add to it.
In my last 7 months alone, I've had brain issues, and now this. I'm like, what the frick do I have? My family, and this, it's like, of course, my family comes first, but it's like, but then this is what keeps me going, and and just I can't, you know. I can't say it enough, when I meet people like you that get it and are just, like just your fans like me, and we could talk about this all night if we could, but unfortunately life, rears its ugly head, but we'll be back on Friday, which is a great thing. We'll be talking about, and I'll plug that on, Charlie and I are gonna be live on Owen Frill with the Action Elite Live, the War Room, this Friday at 8 o'clock Eastern time. We had some discrepancies with the time, I guess, last time. But yeah, 8 o'clock, we're going to be talking about Steven Seagal's classic Above the Law. And just like last week with Invasion USA, we're probably just going to give it a bunch of 9s and 8.5s out of 10 because we grew up watching it, goddammit, and it's a great, it should be an Academy Award.
It should.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. We think it should be anyway.
Yeah, so that's this Friday at 8 o'clock. I'm doing my thing. Charlie, plug your show when you do it. Give yourself a little commercial.
Okay. Well, I'm Charlie. I co-host a show called Give Me Back My Action Movies and Give Me Back My Horror Movies. We have a show drop every week. Every other week is action. The other week is horror. So we alternate it back and forth.
Okay.
Mostly VHS era movies. Just exactly what we're talking about here. We've got one coming out. I'll just go ahead and announce it here. No one else knows. We're getting ready to do Commando, which is a huge movie for us. And we also have our Facebook group, Give Me Back My Action Movies, and another Facebook group, Give Me Back My Horror Movies. So pretty much just the same group of people that just love talking about this stuff, man. Sharing movies that we're watching, movies that we want to see or haven't seen, and just keeping conversations alive. Just telling more and more people about the movies we love.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty much it, man. It's just what the title is. Give me back my action movies.
Right.
That's exactly what I want.
And like I've had the name ACTION-FLIX since I started the website. So ACTIONFLIX.com is what I do. And the ACTION-FLIX was something I started where I shared just a video of the week type of thing. And I called it the Action Fix, to give you your fix, for the week type of thing. And it just stuck. So now I call it my podcast. I do the podcast over on Anchor, Spotify, and now I'm doing the YouTube thing. I started this actually last year, but then of course shit happened. And I had to learn how to talk and walk again, which was a real fun ordeal. So, So I'm doing this every week now. Just to give you a heads up, Charlie, I do my, I know whatever. And again, I'd love to have you on every week, every other week. I just, I want to do this with you. You're a real fun guy. Hopefully we could get Owen too at the same time and just have fun like we do on this show. But my best days, my wife, like I said, works, and I'll say, I don't care where on like she works third shift. She's a manager. And Sundays through Wednesday nights is when she works. So she goes to work after 8 o'clock. So anytime after that, I'm good. So hopefully that can work for you, Charlie, and we can.
Yeah, we can work some windows into there. Yeah. As long, like I said, like I told you, as long as I don't get too many side eyes from the wife, I'm good to go as far as this goes. Because a lot of times she just like lets me go in my studio. She's like, he's doing a podcast, he's fine. Yeah. That old joke where they're like, aren't you worried about what your husband does? He's in there talking about action movies with other guys around his age. There's nothing to worry about over there.
But I got this little room. It's actually in part of our bedroom. And it was supposed to be a walk-in closet when we moved in. It was like one of those walk-in closet deals. Yeah. And I'll spin it around for you someday. But yeah, it's smaller than it, but it's my little oasis. Like I said, it's like I come in here and it's like I'm John Jerva, ActionFlix.com, senior editor.
That's right. I'm not husband. I'm not dad. I am a man of my own castle all of a sudden.
Absolutely. As you can see, I got a lot of stuff behind me. I got stuff in front that you don't see. And I just love doing this. Like I said, the last 7 months, have been pretty hard, and And I thank you. You reached out and friended me first, which was great. I saw you a little bit
on Facebook now. We're official.
Yep, and I'm gonna follow your your Facebook pages too. I just gotta remember, and again, like if you tell me something, you just gotta keep reminding me because my memory sucks right now. And I know a lot of people say that, but my memory really sucks right now. Like
those that know John are well aware. It's fine, man. We'll all work with it.
Yeah,
work with you and help you out, and we'll just keep having fun talking action movies. Bro.
Absolutely, brother. All right, so maybe next week. I mean, again, I don't, let your, see how your wife is or anything. But maybe this weekend I'll give you a topic or something and see if you want to do. And again, Sunday through Wednesday, I got it. Well, actually, not so much next week because she's taking time off because the kids are on break. But I will have, let's see, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. She goes to work. So, and I don't know if we can slip something in there. If not, the next.
Something in on that. Let me see where things are landing at for next week. And
when do you do your recordings? When do you do your recordings again?
We record Thursday nights. They drop on Tuesdays, which doesn't interfere with anything as far as recording.
When do you record on Thursdays?
Owens on Fridays.
Yeah. What time do you usually record on Thursdays?
We're usually done by sometimes we're done by 9.
Oh, okay.
It depends on the topic.
Okay.
We don't have a set time, kind of like this. We're done talking when we're done talking on an episode. Some are short, some are long, but sometimes the movie demands that.
Well, yeah. If you do, I don't want to invite myself. If you ever want to, plug me in there sometime, I'll be more than happy to do your show too because I love
yeah. It's like I told you and Owen Friday. I've been meaning to try and get you guys scheduled up on here. We've had a little shake up on the podcast. We lost one co-host, but my other one from the horror show is stepping up, and we're kind of blending the shows a little bit more cohesive now. So actually our Commando episode coming out will be like our new rebrand almost. It's still Give Me Back My Action Movies, but we're just trying to shake it up a little bit. So
are you doing Commando on Thursday?
What's that?
Are you doing Commando on Thursday?
We recorded that one last week.
I missed it.
Every other week stagger. Because trying to schedule people sometimes sucks.
I understand. I get you. I hear you. Like I said, a lot of times I do this by myself, just me, myself, and I talking to myself in a computer screen. So it's like, I get it.
Yeah. But no, we'll try and get you scheduled up and get a cool ass movie for you to come on and talk about.
Absolutely.
So I'll send you a schedule of what we got coming up. Maybe there's one that'll pique your interest.
And I will make sure to look out for your stuff on. You're on Twitter too, right? We follow each other on Twitter.
No, I haven't jumped on Twitter
yet,
but I'm thinking about it. It got real toxic, and I'm not the type of person that I'm very to myself, man.
Yeah.
I don't play those games like they do, but we are on Instagram, Facebook. I have a TikTok. I don't know how to use it, so we'll see if that goes anywhere.
I was told about TikTok too, actually from a director of action movies. He's like, "You should do TikTok," and I'm like, "Huh?" And I'm like,
We're thinking about little snippet commercials of the podcast, not like you're going to see me and Nate dancing.
Yeah.
Get Nate to dance. We'll see how that goes.
That's what I thought it was, but I'm like, okay, well, I got to investigate that because
everything's shifting and changing. We're old men in a new technology. That's what this is, and we're trying to work it out. And I don't know if I said it, but we're pretty much on every streaming site: Spotify, Podbean, Apple. The show's everywhere. I don't think there's anything we're not on, except I haven't started a YouTube channel yet, but I'm on 2 others now. I don't know if I need to.
No. That's fine. Yeah, I love it, and I'm just trying to get myself out there more. I'll share your stuff on like I said, don't be shy. I'll share your podcast when they come out and put them on my. I'll put them on both my official Facebook page and the group. Are you a member of the group page?
I'm pretty sure I'm a member of the group page.
Okay. And then
I'm in the group. I'm pretty sure I'm on the main page. I've followed it because I've followed you and Owen for a while, and I'm involved with Ultimate Action Movies. I haven't written for a while, but Jordan on Facebook as well. That he runs that one. Again, if I find one website, I'm going to find the others. I want more content.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, yeah, so this is just fun. I mean, like I said, it made my day. My shoulder's been hurting all day. And just when you said yes, I was like, oh, I got somebody to talk to tonight. It filled me with nothing but joy. And then we get to do it again in a couple of days on Friday with Owen's show, where we talk about above the law, do a little Seagology. Nothing beats Seagology in my book. Because I'm sure we're gonna talk about some of his other movies because we always go into something else.
Oh, we always digress there too. We never stay on topic.
Yeah, like Against the Dark. Oh my God, can I talk about that movie? With the vampire.
We're going to be covering that one soon because we only just found out about that one.
You just found out about that?
Yep.
I have that shit. I've seen it more than once.
Action and horror podcast. I'm like, that kind of has to happen now. Well, it has to do Seagal and vampires.
Yeah, it's well. Here's the thing, and the only thing I'll say about this is, Dwayne the Rock Johnson's stunt double is a star in the movie, and he's the best part about it. That's all I'm gonna say about the movie.
That's all you need to say, John, and that's pretty much all I was expecting out of the movie, to be honest.
Steven does what Steven does. He walks around in a long black coat, does a little bit of sword fighting, walks around, does a little bit of.
Everything I read about the movie when I was looking at it went, Steven Seagal has the sword. Steven Seagal plays a swordsman. Steven Seagal kills people with a sword. I'm like, I get it. He's got a sword. And this is the official promo stuff for the movie.
Yeah, his name's like Talon or something. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Whatever it is, he's got a sword.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know.
All right, so there you go. That's Charlie Chase from Give Me Back My Action Movies podcast and Give Me Back My Horror Movies. I'll do horror movies too. If you ever want to, I'll watch. I don't care. I'll watch it. I'll get you a list of
the movies that we finally wrote down and did a schedule.
Yeah.
And we'll let you pick one. Just come on, whichever.
Sure. Absolutely. All right. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed our candid conversation on ninja movies, and it looks like it's going to branch on to another one as soon as Charlie sees some of these movies that I mentioned to him. So we'll probably have a little bit more to chat about in the future.
I got my list.
There you go. See, like I got you locked and loaded. Now you got more shit to watch. So. All right, there, sir. You have a wonderful night. I will talk to you in a few days when we do Owen's show over at the Action Elite. And I can't thank you enough for saving the day, buddy. This has been nothing but fun. So I look forward in the future to do it many more times with you, sir.
Absolutely, man. I have a blast. Thanks for shooting me the message. And I look forward to the next one, man.
Have a wonderful night, sir. Good night.
Good night.
All right.